Hello and welcome everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are. We are going to start in any seconds now the One Provence Challenge Grand Final. And with me today is Omer Guler. Omer, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Yep, well, first up is going to be the J70. It is 3 p.m. CET with everyone in the arena, so the race is a go. 80 seconds until the start. So yeah, J70, this is probably the favorite boat of the community, like the classic beloved, we call it. Very tactical boat, and a very good like balance between strategy, speed, and attacks or defense, I would say.
Yeah. And this start line seems big enough to fit in the fleet, so I don't think we're gonna see a lot of penalties, but it's important to, when the start line is this big, it's critical to choose if you're gonna start from the pin end or the committee boat. So for now, I think the advantage is the pin end, but let's see how it will change. What do you think?
Yep, we'll see how the shift's going and also the patterns of the wind. 20 seconds to the start, so we see some of them going towards the pin end.
Yeah. Personally, I would have placed myself by the pin end here, because you can see the darker zones in the minimap as well by the pin end. So it seems like we're gonna have a shift coming from there.
So the darker zones are actually areas where there is more wind pressure, and so, well, Trap Breast Power over here decided to go towards the pin end on starboard tack towards this wind pressure. Before tacking again now.
Yeah. Trap Breast Power had a great start. He's in the perfect spot if you ask my opinion. He's controlling the fleet. They will probably cross over all the fleet, even though he's in port side, on the port tack, sorry.
Yep. Well, actually, we can go over some of the players.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at completely on the right over here, Bart Lambriex, currently in second position in the fleet. Very tight with I think it's FC Rich next to him and Kazuki. Bart Lambriex, the 49er world champion, I believe.
Yes.
Also correct. A very strong eSailer that we've seen in the eSailing World Championship Grand Final, for example, last year. Not that active, but when he shows up, he always qualifies or ends up in the top of the fleet.
Yeah, he's always consistent. If you ask my opinion, he's always consistent. He's always in the leading group. So yeah, I'm sure he's gonna do some good racing today.
Yep, a very consistent and strong player, and he qualified from the final 2, so the second challenge final, arriving third during that final, with only 1 point behind the first one, who was Alex K, who unfortunately could not race today. And well, his series during that final was 9th, 5th, 3rd, and 2nd.
Yeah. So even though he didn't win a race, like it's all about consistency, not losing control, just staying in the staying clear, and being in the leading group.
Yep. And right next to him is the Japanese player Kazuki, as they approach this first upwind mark over here. Kazuki, where did he qualify from? He qualified from Challenge 2 as well, and he was actually with Bart Lambriex in that same final, and scored the same amount of points as Bart, 28 points in total. His series being 5th, 12th, 3rd, 7th, and 1st during that final. So also a very fairly consistent player. Well, I mean, all of them are top-notch players, since well, they are the top players of the One Provence Challenge. It's 20 players, so I'm just going to explain how these players got here. We had 3 finals throughout the One Provence Challenge. As we see, Shiloh Finn took a penalty here. 5 players from each of these challenge qualified via the challenge final to this grand final, and then also took the first player in the overall ranking, which was harder, the Brazilian player.
Yeah.
The top 2 male players of the overall ranking not yet qualified, so these were Von FC Rich, the Japanese player, and Von Pigeon as well. And the top 2 female players, who were IPT NF Sailor and Pink Bits, and Pink Bits did not register in time, so it was the next in line, La Jeffa GBA, who we've seen in an eSailing World Championship final. La Jeffa GBA, I believe she's actually already a semi-finalist for the eSailing World Championship, so very strong female player we have here.
Yeah. We can say it's best of the best racing here.
Absolutely, yep. Any players that you're expecting a great series from?
Yes, actually, that is a good question. Like Japanese players are coming in strong recently, so either Kazuki or FC Reach are gonna be in the top 3, I believe. And other than that, Bart, probably. Bart is one of my favorites. Yeah. Other than that, it's hard to take a guess with this many top sailors.
Yeah, for sure, and we have the commentator curse as well, so we don't want to jinx anyone either.
Yeah.
But that was your impression on
Yeah, I
this
already
afternoon's
jinxed
final.
someone, by the way. I already jinxed Breast Power. I said he had a great start, and then he had penalties while rounding the mark.
Well, he's still in the top 6, so
Yes, yeah. He can still come back.
you know, if you stay in the top 10 throughout every race, you should end up in the top 10 overall, and therefore qualify for the medal race at the end. And the medal race is going to shift a lot because it's 2 times the points.
Yes.
But yeah, so these were your pronostics. Those watching us on the chat, do tell us which player you think, or which players you think are going to end up at the top of the podium. As AIM is the one leading currently. AIM, who qualified via Challenge 1, arrived second in that final overall, with 3 points behind the first one being Jose Coty. His series being 16th, 4th, 7th, 1st, and 1st.
2 firsts.
First in Nacra and first in J70, and looks like he's repeating that again, being first in J70. Hopefully we don't jinx it for him, but he has a fairly comfortable lead over here.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but I think AIM will finish first, and then FC Reach also in a comfortable place, but for Sidel Finn, I wouldn't say it's the same situation, because Pablo Baez and Kazuki are following right behind. So I think you're for a match race during the downwind right now.
Yeah, Shadlofin, the Polish player who also qualified in Challenge 2. Damn. We've spoken only of people who qualified via Challenge 2. Shadlofin, the Polish player qualified from Challenge 2, arriving 4th in that final. 32 points, where Alex K, the first one, had 27, so 5 points behind. And he was a very consistent player during that final, only had 1 hiccup in the Nacra. Must have misread some of the wins or got unlucky at some point. His series being 6th, 2nd, 18th, which is the hiccup 1st and 5th. So yeah, a fairly consistent player and a very strong player as well. Though he is going to have to fight off Pablo Baez and Kazuki, who are just staying behind, not attacking too much, just staying in that same line.
What would you do here if you were in the place of Pablo Baez? Would you go till the ley line, or what?
I think I would continue to the ley line a bit. I probably would have waited a bit before jibing, though I am not qualified for this final. He is.
Yes.
But these 5 players here look like might be the ones who
Actually, Pablo Baez jiked. He was in the clean, but he went through the lower pressure. So Kazuki coming from behind is much faster. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, so we have Ame, FC Rich, Scheidlo in 1, 2, and 3, and then it's going to be tight between Pablo Baez, but it looks like Pablo Baez is securing his 4th place before Kazuki, as the rest of the fleet arrives over here. So interesting thing we saw here, it was this big gap that we've seen between these first 5 players and the rest of the fleet. We're going to bunch up and finish more or less at the same time. It's going to be very tight to see the difference in the score. Looking at the chat, Peter G-Man, good luck to all. Yes, good luck to all these Slayers. It's going to be 8 races, including a medal race. And G Kunza supporting his Brazilian teammates over here harder. And see the ranking on your screen right now after race 1. So I'm not going to go over them, as Omer just went over all of them. So race 1 finished. We're going to head over to race 2 in just a minute. Being the Star. I think you like the Star, Omer.
Yeah.
Any tips you can share with us about this boat?
Yes, of course. So I would suggest having a good start, because once you're in the wind shadow, it's not easy to catch up. But also during the downwind, you have a quite big wind shadow to come back as well. So what would I do is I would avoid the high pressures. Even if you go faster, most of the fleet will go there and they will cover you with their wind shadows. So I would go when there's lighter wind and maybe try to stay in the clear, where everyone's like just battling with themselves, with each other. So this is one of the best steps I can give while racing with this start boat.
Okay, and didn't see it quick enough, but we do have one boat with the wrong color on the boat, but that is not too big of an issue. They'll just change it for the next race. Moritz, wishing good luck to all these sailors. They will need it as well. So yeah, almost 30 seconds to the start. And Maurice supporting La Jeffa and NF Sailor. That is a good shout. La Jeffa, so we've talked about her just before, qualifying in the semi-final for the eSailing World Championship, and 2 of the only female sailors in this final. La Jeffa arrived 15th during the race 1, and NF Sailor arrived 20th. Hopefully they can come back into the race. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and it's a go. A couple of penalties here. I see a penalty on a harder on Carlos. Looks like a false start for Von Pigeon. And La Jeff. Oh no, it's IPT NF Sailor on the right over here with a penalty as well.
Bart seems he's in a good spot. Sorry.
Bart currently 2nd in the ranking in the middle of the fleet over here. Just tacking over Scheidlo Finn, FC Rich, and Mauro Di Napoli, who took a penalty, didn't see from where. And yeah, well, let's talk a bit about Mauro Di Napoli. So he qualified during the 3rd final, so the last one, and he arrived 1st in that qualifier. And that fleet was a very hard fleet, where the first, Mauro Di Napoli, got 34 points in total, whereas in the first 2 finals they had 26 points, so 8 points difference compared to the first 2 finals for the first place. And his series being arriving 1st on the first race, then 10th, then 15th, then 1st, then 7th. And one, I might call him one of the part of the gentleman club, in the way where he would sail very clean and nicely, not too aggressive, and fairly.
Until now, we didn't see like aggressive players this race. Didn't see many like penalties as we're used to.
Well, I guess there's less incentive to be aggressive when it's an 8-race final, including a medal race.
Yes.
because having one time first place and the rest of the time not in a pretty bad position isn't going to help that much. I think for longer races, you better try to, well, longer formats, you better try to be more consistent than having a very strong performance here and there.
Yeah, you're correct. And yeah, I just want to ask the players as well, like if you were competing, what would your strategy be in the star race, especially during the downwind? Please let us know.
Do you prefer chasing or being chased?
A good question. I think I prefer chasing, because being chased can be quite annoying. You know that you would have done the same, but you're still being quite angry against the player who's covering you. But yeah, probably chasing, because it's like you have the control and you just don't have to wait with someone's covering you and just slowing down. Someone's coming for you. Not the best feeling. Yeah, 8 meters of gap between 42 and second and Pablo Baez, sorry.
Yeah, so 42 Lorenzo, 42 the Italian player also that we've seen in the grand final for the eSailing World Championship last year, who qualified during the Challenge 3 as well, arriving third in that challenge, his series being 3, 3rd, 4th, 18th, 11th, and 2nd. And a very active member in the community, and right behind him, Pablo Baez, the Spanish player who also qualified with Challenge 3, arriving just behind 42 in that final with 42 points in total, 15th, 16th, 3rd, 4th, and 4th. Looks like Lorenzo and Pablo are going to go on the mark on the left-hand side of your screen over here, while Julie Fra, the French player, preferred going the other side.
So now we are gonna have a small shift coming from Julie Fra's side, from starboard side, but then we'll have another big shift coming from left. So I would try to stay in the left side, in the port side of the race course. But of course, it's there are a lot of uncertainties when it's come to the wind. So we'll
Yep.
see.
They're a bit of in an empty tunnel over here, where the wind is either completely on the right or on the left.
Yeah.
They're in a spot where there's not much of that wind, but we can see the wind slowly creeping in on the top right hand side over here.
Yeah. But even if you see a big shift coming, they're gonna probably battle it out during the downwind, because the gaps are not that far away.
Yep, 10 meters, 24 meters. This is not enough to.
And as you know, the wind shadow of the starboard has a range of 60 or 70 meters, so it will be enough to cover both of these boats.
Which means Lorenzo is probably safe from FC Rich's and Ame's wind shadow, but Pablo Baez and Judy Fra are gonna have to make sure they catch Lorenzo in their wind shadow so that he doesn't pull away. While they are being slowed down likely by Ame and FC Rich, although we do see Noze on the top over here.
Yeah. I think we can say the top 3 separated themselves from the fleet.
Yep.
So they will have their private battles. And then, yeah, we'll see how it will turn out. So
Lorenzo first to turn around the mark, closely followed by Pablo Baez and Judy Fra. Ame is in wind shadow distance. Yeah. And so Pablo Baez
is going, where the wind is. Pablo Baez just decided to go straight away because he knows eventually Julie Fra is going to catch up. So he's taking his place on the port side of Julie Fra, so he can stay in the clean and he'll have the control as attacking starboard boat.
Yep. And is Julie Fra in Ame's wind shadow? It looks like he managed to escape. Ame being slowed down by Bart right behind him, so looks like these 3 are going to be the podium for this race.
Yeah.
And then Ame is going to have to try to get away from Bart.
there's a big gust coming from the port side. So if Pablo Boas jives and goes through there, he'll speed up. Yeah, he's speeding up now. As you can see, he has a speed of 6.8 knots, while Lorenzo's sailing with 6.6. But I don't think it's going to be enough.
So yeah, looks like Lorenzo is going to be the first one who
Yes.
who crosses
And
the.
second gonna be Pablo Baez. I think it's close, but he's faster for the finish. And yes, Pablo's got it.
Very close between Pablo and Judifra, and as we said, so these three managed to separate themselves from the rest of the fleet. Ame is going to be 4th, FC Rich 5th, Kazuki 6th. Bart and Noza is going to be close, but I think Bart has it. We'll see. Stéphane Gazin, Shiloh are also very close. We'll see what the final ranking says.
Yes.
And there we have it. So that was race 2 with the star. We're gonna start race 3 in just a couple of minutes, 3 minutes to be precise. Okay, 1 minute till start. Which is going to be the Far East 28R for race 3. So Far East 28R, similar to the J70, but with kind of different angles towards well, different polars. So different strategy compared to the J70. Not as you can't attack as much on the Far East compared to the J70. So it is 30 with all the players in. Race is starting now. So yeah, ranking on the right, so we can see the overall ranking. Ame is still in first place. Pablo Baez in second place with 6 points. FC Rich third with 7. 42 Lorenzo 11 points, equal to Judifra and Kazuki. Shiloh close behind with 12 points. And then Bart with 18 points, so we have a bit of a gap between 8th and 7th. 6 points behind, but 6 points is not a lot if you take into account that it's going to be 8 races long. And 40 seconds to the start. Far East 28R, what can you tell us about this boat, Omer?
Yes, so Far East is actually similar to J70, but not quite alike in terms of wind shadow, speed, and the control of the boat. So we'll see, but the angles are also different during the downwind, so it can be more difficult to cover the boats. So it's important, it's critical to have a good start, as catching up is not quite easy with this boat. And then we're off.
There we have it. So La Jefa GBA decided to go on a starboard start. A bit alone on her side over there. Most of the fleet has port tack. Most of the fleet decided to go on starboard tack at the start, and are bunching up on the left. Over here, do you think La Jefa made the good choice?
Yes, I would say so, because as you can see, the wind socket in the middle in the minimap is tilting a bit left, so which means we'll have a right hand shift. But I'm not see how effective it's gonna be.
We'll have to wait and see. It looks like to me Schleg might be in a good position over here with FC Rich and José. So G-Kunz, for your Brazilian sailors, José Couti is currently 11th with 24 points, arriving 12th in both races. And Harder is 13th with 26 points, arriving 7th in the first race, but 19th in the second race.
Yes.
It looks like Schleg is also having a tough time at the beginning of this final as well. Arriving 16th and 16th during the first two races. Just as a reminder, Schleg arrived third in the first final. You've heard him in the commentating in the last final for Challenge 3 final. So he arrived third in the Challenge 1 final with 33 points, 7 points behind Jose Coti. His series being arriving 2nd, 5th, 16th, 8th, and 2nd. And it looks like Kazuki is going to be the first one to reach the mark.
Yes. He has got a 22 meters of gap with the rest of the fleet, so it's a good chance to just sail away to the finish for Kazuki, for the Japanese sailor. And his first 2 races are 5th and 6th, and with a first place, I think he'll guarantee to be in top 5. Because the 4th, 5th, and 6th place in the ranking all have 11 points.
Yeah. Kazuki, who is 6th overall, 5 and 6th. Equal in points with Lorenzo and Judy Fall.
Yeah, in front of him we have Julie Pratt and Lorenzo with 11 points as well.
Yep.
So it's going to be tight between them.
It looks like he has a pretty comfortable lead, so hopefully he can keep it with reading the shifts and the patterns well enough to not make a wrong call at some point. Breast Power might be able to catch him in the wind shadow, though the wind shadow is not that powerful in the far east.
Mm-hmm.
Breast Power, speaking of him, the French sailor, who is climbing here and there the rankings in the finals at least. He's usually always there in a final, and we've also seen him in the Nations Cup for the French team. And I jinxed him. He took a penalty from Harder, the Brazilian player. Yeah. And speaking of Harder, so let's jinx Harder then. Brazilian player, he was first in the overall ranking for the One Provence Challenge, and he usually is in these kind of events where we have several challenges that qualify for a final at the end. He is usually at the top of the global ranking.
Yeah, I can say actually we're used to see Harder and Jose Gori, this magical Brazilian duo, in the grand finals.
Yep. And there were also our Olympic finalists last year for the Olympic Esports Week, or Olympic Esports Series.
Yeah, I know we repeat it a lot, but I love the story. Would you like to tell the spectators about the story of Jose Godi and Harder?
Sure. So the link that you, beside being Brazilians, between Harder and Jose Godi is that Harder was actually the coach, the sailing coach for Jose Godi when Jose Godi was still a young pup.
Yeah.
So they know each other well in real life as well, and probably still sail together in real life. I don't know if they are still in the same area in Brazil that they can still sail together. But yeah, Harder was Jose Godi's coach.
Yeah, great story. Like going to Singapore for the Olympic Esports Series final with the coach. He started sailing like that. That'll be great.
And looks like Kazuki has managed to pull away enough to be safe from any wind shadows or anything. So I think Kazuki has it in the bag for race 3. And it's going to be between Harder, Breast Power, and well, all of the rest behind them are quite close. So
well, let's see if Breast Power will get his revenge of that first penalty during the downwind.
Well, he's going to want that. Breast Power is currently 16th in the overall ranking, arriving 13th and 15th in race 1 and 2.
He needs it. He needs
it.
Yeah.
The Harder also needs it, currently 13th overall.
Unforced penalty for Breast Power.
It wasn't looking. Did he touch the mark?
Yes, he did.
That's a bummer.
Yes, that's I think that's the thing about Far East. It's more sensitive than J70. So a small movement like we used to do it with J70, if you try doing it with Far East, you can get penalties. So
Yep.
You have to be careful.
Just realized I missed it, but Bananier 5e compte, thank you so much for the follow, which I'm assuming is Baban05. Another sailor that we've seen in the finals. Unfortunately, did not make it further for this final, but thank you for the follow. So yeah, Kazuki is the first one, harder second, and can Breast Power at least get third, or will FC Rich take it from him? I think he has it.
Yes, FC Rich got it, then Schleg, the Americans coming in, and Jose Godi in 6th place, the Brazilian player. Then in 7th place we got Stefan Gazon, 8th IPT NF Sailor, and 7th place IPT NF Sailor, 8th Lorenzo, 9th place Bart Lambrex. He's still consistent, top 10, but I'm not sure how he's gonna end up in the ranking. We'll check this in a bit with Oscar.
Yep.
And then in the 10th place we got Pablo Baez, following Sidelofen, Nozet, LDL, and Carlos Parejo, Moro Di Napoli, Montejan, Oncoli Coli, Julie Fry. AIM is in the 18th position, and Lejeba GBA.
So there we have the ranking after race 3. Looks like 2 of the Japanese players are now in the first 2 places.
Wow. It's impressive, yeah. 11 and 12 points. They're quite close.
So 2 minutes until the start for race 4. Maybe it's time for us to talk about that we'll be doing a small giveaway for this stream. So at the end of the stream, we'll be giving out 50 tokens to one of the lucky viewers. And to be part of it, just make sure that you chat in the chat regularly, as we'll be taking those who were active within the last 15 minutes when we do the draw. So yeah, 50 tokens to win if you chat in the chat.
Let's see who'll win it.
And you don't need to say smart stuff to chat in the chat. Just support the player that you want to see winning, or debate with us whether you think one player is going to dominate or not.
Or you can tell us also how you explored virtual regatta, how long you've been on the game, what's your favorite part of the game if you're sailing in real life, because it's a real sailing community, and a lot of players in this fleet are actually sailing and they're professional sailors in real life, so we're sure that you're somehow related to sailing as well. So please let us know your stories. We'll be happy to hear or read them.
Right, 1 minute till the start for race number 4 and J17.
Maurice saying, haha, they will show them. I'm proud that they are there and they are part of the AGT all-girl team. Great to hear that.
Yeah, talking about the Jaffa and Sailor. Let's try to focus on maybe some other players that we haven't talked about yet. Kurikoi can be an example of them, the Finnish.
Yes, actually, I was just going to ask. I don't know really well this player. Do you have some insight on him?
So same, I don't know him that well, but we spoke about him with Schleg and Ame in the last stream. Yeah. He is one of the, a very strong player, consistent player, obviously since he is in this final. Not necessarily that active, but does show up in their community regattas. And does perform well in these regattas. So, and I did see him a couple of times in finals that we organized, whether it's the eSailing World Championship, the 1 Provence Challenge, or other past finals or past events that we did on the virtual regatta Inshore game. I think one of the only Finnish player that I know of. In the top of the ranking, I mean.
Yeah, that's correct. We don't see Finnish players quite often.
And we see Kazuki and FC Rich in the top 2 again at the start of this race. In the top 3, sorry. And as I say that, FC Rich falls into 4th, but is still very close with Carlos Barrejo. We didn't talk about Carlos. The Spanish player. Who...
Yes.
Did he not win one of the eSailing World Championships?
Yes, he won. I mentioned that while you were entering the scores.
Oh, my bad.
Yes, he did then. And he's been in the like top group for like the last 5 or 6 years, I think, in this game.
So still strong and still can keep up with all the new players and strong players that we've seen rise in the past last years. And I don't want to jinx her, but it looks like NF Sailor is doing again a good race, a good start at least. 8th again. If she can keep this, she might make it to the top 10 eventually.
And AIM is leading now to that 19th place, which should be probably
Where
a
is
good
AIM?
feeling to be back on the top.
And Kaigo of Brazil, right shift is coming strong, yep.
Yes. So,
and your Brazilians teammates are going to need some support. Harder is 7th. Well, they're actually still in the top 10, both of them. So they will make it to the medal race if they keep it up like that. Harder currently 7th overall, and Hosekori 10th overall. Just 2 points difference between the two of them, but how many points that is? 17 points with the top one with FC Rich.
Yeah. Actually, everything still can change in the middle race, like with these gaps of points.
Yeah.
It's safe to say that the fleet is racing quite close.
Well, maybe that's a introduction for me to talk about the scoring and sailing. Most of you probably already know, those watching. In case you don't, then in this competition and sailing in general, you use low point scoring systems. So what that means is your position equal the number of points you win. So first equals 1 point, second equals 2 points, third is 3 points, and so on. And you want as less points as possible. And the medal race doubles these points. So first will give you 2 points, second will give you 4 points, and third will give you 6 points. So in a fleet of 20 players, arriving last in the medal race will give you 40 points, which is a lot. But which also means that the rankings, depending on who arrives first and who can perform well during that race, might shift a lot as well after that race. It looks like Kazuki, FC Rich are also first and second, keeping that lead. And Kuriko is going to be the only one who will be able to catch them, likely.
They're literally following their rankings and the general ranking of the race. First Kazuki and second FC Rich. What a clean racing. Definitely.
Maybe you can explain, Omer, how we read the shifts using the windsocks at the top.
As you can see in the minimap at the top left corner, the shift is coming from right at the moment. As you'll see, the wing, we call them wind sockets, and they're tilted against left, which means it's gonna be a shift coming from the right hand side. So at this moment, going to the right after running the mark, would be the smart choice to make. So now you'll see in a bit, and yeah, the shift is already started. The ley lines are moving towards the left of the race course, which means the angle of the boat is changing, and the boat is getting closer to the mark that they're trying to reach. So that's why normally when you're also when you get the race help or lead VIP in the race, you can see the shifts moving. You have a bar at the top of your screen, and if you're in the green, it means you're in the shift, which is good. You're getting closer to the mark. But if you see red, you will need to tack. There's some exceptions, but it's mostly the case. There's some race courses that the wind can be quite uncertain and flaky.
Thank you very much for that explanation. And yeah, the ley lines that Omer is talking about are these white lines that you see that are coming out of the mark at the top of the screen. And they basically show the most direct path to the mark, taking the wind at the mark. So usually try to stay close to these lines and not to overshoot them too much.
Yeah. For example, Carlos Parejo, as you can see, he's over the ley line, which is not the best option because he's not following the shortest distance to the mark. He's just taking a long way. So we can say Kazuki is in a very good spot at the moment. So a comfortable lead, but I think we're going to see a battle with the Spaniard and the Japanese player.
Yep. Right coming again at the end, and Jalapo is saying Lejefa, the Polish player. Yep. Where is Lejefa?
10th place. Lejefa in 10th place. Great to see that.
She is, and hopefully she can keep it. She needs it.
Yeah.
And where is NF Sailor? Where did she go? And she's currently 17th.
But yeah, she's 17th, but she's in front of Bart Lambrex, Nozet LDLN, and one Pageant.
Yep.
For the three of them are like the top players, so.
Well, hopefully
the
for
position, the position might seem a bit pessimistic, but yeah, it's a very good fleet. So
hopefully for Bart, he can stay in the top 10 because the 49er is, well, his supposedly favorite boat since he did win the 49er world champ. Well, he is the 49er world champion. But it is the medal race, so he needs to, if this is his favorite boat and if he performs well in the 49er, he needs to make sure that he ends up in the top 10, which is currently the case, currently 8th overall, with 28 points, same as Harder. Dawash Bartek, I'm afraid I don't understand what that means, so if we can keep the chat in English, I would appreciate it.
Yes, Levo, let us know what it means, please.
And looks like Kazuki is going to be the first one to cross the finish line. FC Rich is behind him. I don't know if Carlos is going to be able to catch up. I don't think so.
I think yes, because Carlos is in starboard position, so he has the advantage. He has the control.
Yeah, Carlos is fighting with Lorenzo at the moment.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a win for.
So Kazuki, FC Rich, the two Japanese staying strong and true to the global ranking. Carlos 3rd, Lorenzo 4th, Ame 5th. And then it's going to be tight between Harder, Hoshikochi, Korikoi, Moro di Napoli.
Oh, tight finish. By the way, I forgot to ask, which version of the skin is your favorite? The blue one or the orange one?
I think I like the blue one with the hints of orange.
Yeah, okay. The orange one is too orange.
But just the blue one is... is a shame. So yeah, so there we have it. This is...
By the way, please let us know how did you explore the game Virtual Regatta Inshore, because for me, for example, it was quite interesting. It happened during the epidemic, as I've been sailing myself as well since my childhood. I have a lot of friends in sailing, so one of them discovered this game, told me about it, and we started racing non-stop during the pandemic in the quarantine. So that's how I discovered this game. And please let us know also how you discovered that. So,
yeah, interesting to see people in the chat how you met Virtual Regatta Inshore. For my part, I heard about it while I was searching for a job. I always enjoy sports, and I like video games as well. So I wanted to find something that was related to the games and to the sports, and I heard of Virtual Regatta and tried it. Well, I'm still here.
Great to see you here, Oscar. And yes, with 1 minute before the start signal.
And I just want to thank GKunze34 and Wallace Racing 1 for the follow. So we've just reached our goal of 270 followers. Thank you guys so much. Again, do type in the chat. Do comment in the chat how did you learn about Virtual Regatta Inshore? As a reminder, we will be doing a draw and a giveaway of 50 tokens at the end of the stream to whoever has been active in the last 15 minutes at the time where we do the draw.
What is the vote for the medal race? Chayo Gerasi, it will be 49er. The vote for the medal race. Yes, and we're off. The fleet looks beautiful with oranges, touches of green and light blue, and customized skins. We see Bart coming from the port side over the fleet. Yes, seems like he's in a good spot, and I'll just.
All he needs is he had a tough last race, so has now just left the top 10 positions. Actually, I don't think we've gone over the ranking really at the end.
Yes, I can go over it if you want. So Japanese players in top 2, and they both got 13 points, and then we have a gap of 11 points, and in the third place coming in Lorenzo 42, and then Pablo Boys with 20. So actually Japanese have a quite gap with the third place, and then we don't see that big gaps between players. 42 and Pablo Boys, they have 3 points of gap, and then Pablo Boys aim 2, 4, 3, 3, same points. So actually the rest of the fleets are still quite close, Oscar. And Harder and Jose Gotti, Brazilian duo, back-to-back, got 3 points. Then Carlos Parejo with the 8th place. Side Lofin 9th, and Julie Pratt 10th place. And then coming in, Kolikoi 11th, Bart Lambrex 12th, Stefan Galzan, Mauro Di Napoli, Breast Power, the American player Schleich, Nozet, NF Saver, Lujeva, and One Pigeon. It's not his day. Normally One Pigeon also, he's a good player, and he's in the he's above in the rankings normally.
Thank you for that, Omer. And Moritz saying it's incredible how Bort can be inactive for a long time but still come back in such a high level. He's like Lucas Moore, annoying to play against. Yeah, Bart is one of those players who he might be inactive for a long time, but that's because he's sailing in real life, and I'm going to assume he applies some of the logic and some of the strategies he sees in real life sailing or in eSailing into the other. Well, he has the lead over here in this 5th race in the Star, being chased by Ame and Hosekochi.
Yes,
I don't know if he's in the wind shadow. I think he might have escaped any wind shadow.
Yeah, he slightly escaped, and it will, like, the gap will get bigger and bigger, because even if he's chased, the chasers are chased by a big fleet coming from behind. So Bart is safe now, and he'll have a comfortable lead and finish if they don't jinx it with anything unlikely.
Yeah, with
So I think Jose got the inside or not. Let's see. Yes, he did. So as you know, normally the inside boat always have the right to pass, and you can adjust even your starboard. You can adjust penalize the boat and run the mark. You have to always get your place and make sure that you're inside to have the right to turn before. Otherwise, you can get penalized, or you have to go a long way, turn behind the boat in front of you, and you can lose a lot of meters.
Yep. So well, Bart is actually, I was gonna say Bart is likely gonna be first, but he's not safe yet, and they can still catch up behind.
Yeah.
Where are our Japanese? They're top two at the moment. So Kazuki currently in 10th and FC Rich in 12th. I think Kazuki is on the right over here.
Even if they both finish in top 10, I think they're gonna be safe because they have the gap.
They have a decent
course,
league on the third position. Kazuki and FC Rich both have 13 points, so tied, and Lorenzo 42, which is the third overall, has 24 points. So there's 11 points difference between Kazuki and FC Rich, with the third position being Lorenzo, the Italian player. And they're not known for being consistently bad. They're known for being consistently good, so even if this race is a hiccup for them, they're likely gonna get back into it. So Bart, starting the last downwind leg until the finish line in the Star. Is he safe from Nozette's wind shadow?
Yes, he's not at the moment, but he will be, because Nozette cannot sail straight. He has to escape as well from the boats following him, Jose Godi, Moro di Napoli. And he's again heading to the ley line at the port side because he wants to have the control of the catching up boats, staying in a starboard position. So in case of any emergency, he can just attack the other boats or just control them.
Yep. So it's gonna be... It's likely going to be as we see it over here. Bart first, Nozette second, Jose Godi third, Moro di Napoli fourth, and Ame fifth. That's likely are going to be our top five for this race.
Because no one's going for each other. They're just cruising and not racing at the moment. They're sailing smoothly. And yeah, I think you're right, Oscar. That's going to be our top five. So, FC Rich is in the 14th position. That's not good news for him. But Kazuki is still safe, so he'll get the leading place after this race. Sorry, Kazuki is already in the leading. Sorry. So, this will remain as the leader, but FC Rich might lose his place. Let's see where Lorenzo is. But Lorenzo is in 11th, so yeah. I think we won't see a different ranking in the top three.
Good gain on the second upwind from Nozette. Yeah, he did. I don't know where he is in this race. I lost him.
And he was in the thing.
But Nozette is currently 17th overall, so he will need some strong performance to get back in it. And there we have it. So that is race 5. So we'll enter the scores and we'll start race 6 in just a few moments. So race 6 is going to be the Far East again. Last time we see the Far East. And then it's just 2 races before the medal race.
Yeah, getting close.
Yep, there you have it. The overall ranking after race 5. Kazuki FC Rich still in first place. Ame has taken 3rd place from Lorenzo, but is tied with him with 34 points. Jose Godi is in 5th with 40. Babloba is in 42 points in 5th. In 6th, sorry, and 107 with 43 points. Bart 49 points. 8th, Scheidlo in 9th, and Mordi Napoli in 10th place. 30 seconds till the start, and Wallace Racing showing his support for USA. We have 2 of them today, Schlegg and NF Sailor, and they will need your support. Schlegg just needs to stay consistent in these last 2 races before the medal race to reach the top 10 if he wants again a shot in the medal race and hopefully winning the final. We did have 1 player dropping out, Breast Power. Unfortunately decided to drop out after race 5.
Fortunate. So for their 6th race, it's again Paris. One last time, and then we'll see 2 different boats, which are number 17 for the 7th race and 49 for the final medal race.
So yeah, Bart completely on the left hand side over here, and on the right over there we see La Jeffa GBA. I have the impression that La Jeffa prefers trying to just sail clear from everyone. It's not the first time that we see her completely on the right, separate from the rest of the fleet. So I think her strategy is kind of just like keep clear, get some clean air. Don't bother too much about the other players and just sail your race.
Yeah. Normally when I'm racing, like as I'm concentrated in the race, I don't look at the view, but Marseille looks quite good. I haven't realized till now. And it's an important spot for the Paris 2024 Olympics. Most of the sailing races are gonna be there. So
yeah, that's a great transition.
Have you ever been in Marseille?
I have been in Marseille. I've never sailed in Marseille. But as you said, so one Provence is this region south of France, which includes Marseille, and are the organizers of this challenge on Regatta Inshore. And they wanted to just bring a bit more light on their region. And well, Marseille that you see in the background over there is the South Harbor of Marseille, is where most of the sailing, well, all of the sailing events of Paris 2024 are going to take place.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Who over here actually in the chat are going to follow Paris 2024, the Olympic Games? Are any of you going to Marseille, or are you just going to try to follow the sailing from their broadcasts?
Gerasi saying always, but it's not clear for me always, like is supporting or coming always, but
the broadcast.
Yeah. So which classes, which Olympic classes will you be following? Chayo Gerasi, let us know.
Well, I think we have 4 Olympic classes, right? There's the 49er, the Ilka, the Nakra 17, and the 470.
Yes, correct. Before we had Finn class as well, but it's recently removed from being an Olympic class. So I think, yeah. Did you count Ilka as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kaigo has friends on all of them, so he'll be following all of them. Fair enough.
Oh, great. So we got it. Okay, let's go back to fleet. What do we have here? So Carlos Parejo is in the lead, followed by Harder and 42. Yeah, I think you're seeing the even in a fleet like this, we see the same names in the top, don't we?
Well, all of the names that we see in these top 20 are like forgot the word, like names that you recognize.
Yeah. Like Lorenzo's doing a good job. He's been on the top 10 for all the race, all the qualifier races.
Yeah, it looks
And
like FC Rich and
Harder-
Kazuki are having a hard time in this race. 13th and 19th.
So do you think we jinxed the Japanese players again?
So where's it's Ame, right? Ame and
one-
Lorenzo.
One Pigeon's back in top 10. It's good to see him here.
Nice to see him there. Yep,
Yeah.
from GBR. So it's gonna be between Ame and Lorenzo, right? 34 points each, tied.
Yes.
I think Kazuki is probably still safe. Well, actually, it depends if
Not that safe,
yeah,
I would
not
say.
that safe.
Yes.
If he's 19th, he's not that safe.
Yeah.
And 57092, thank you for the follow in.
So
Well, looks like Carlos has a clean, clear finish for him.
Yeah.
And I think Harder is going to be second and Lorenzo is going to be third. I don't think Ame is going to be able to catch Lorenzo on this race.
let's see.
And we have this
where
nice
it's-
line,
yes.
straight line of them
Yeah.
all following each other. NF Sailor in 8th, nice to see her in the top 10 again. Schleg in 9th, followed by his 10th, Marty Napoli 11th. I think it's more or less going to be this order until the finish line. As Carlos Parejo has already crossed the start line in 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
So second coming in farther, and then the third player is 42. So again in top 3 Lorenzo. So we'll see how FC Rich finishes. Okay, Kazuki. He was in the last spot, but yeah, I think that's still the case. They got 12 points difference in this race, and in the general ranking it was 14, I guess. So it helped him quite closing the gap with the Japanese player. So I'll let Oscar type in the results, and then we'll see.
Yep, see you in a bit. The overall
So-
results, so Lorenzo has ended up taking first place in front of FC Rich and Kazuki,
And
as we're about to
uh,
head over race 7 in 1 minute.
let's briefly explain why they're on the same points, and 42 got the first place. When two players has the same points, you look at the best results, and 42's best results is first place, while FC Rich is second. So that's why 42's got the first place. And now we can advance for the 7th race, last race before the medal race.
Okay, and well, race 7 is a go. In the Nacra 17. So Nacra 17 is one of the newer boats that we see, well, newer boats in this final, not on the game. And is an Olympic class boat. We talked about it just with Paris 2024, a foiler, very fast and nimble. Not the easiest to control.
Yes, not at all.
And probably one of my favorite boats on the game personally. So we'll see how it goes, because it's a very different strategy from the boats that we've seen so far, who are more on the slower end. You'll see that this race is likely going to take only 5 or 6 minutes.
As these boats are quite fast, in the upwind, you're going to see a lot of boats trying to head up and just get advantage over the other boats. and you can use a lot of different tactics. You can start just foiling on this boat, and it can be quite fast. Now this is the first reaching start of the day. Maybe some boats will use their spinnakers, some boats will choose not to use them. And we're off. Let's see.
So looks like, is it going to be Jose Coty is likely going to be the one who takes the lead?
Oh man.
What happened?
What an unlucky moment for FC Rich. He was full depart, so
Oh, false start.
he had to come back full start, yeah.
It's going to hurt him a lot. Jose Coty took the cleanest start out of them, first one to reach the mark. Usually in these courses with the reaching start, the players who reach the first mark, the first reaching mark first, usually keep their places. Though we do see Lorenzo quite only 10 meters behind Jose Coty, so we'll see how it goes. Interesting thing about the Nacra 17 is, well, compared to the other boats that we could have seen just before, they don't sail towards the wind very well. Their best VMG isn't like 40 degrees or 42 degrees or 45 degrees. It's a bit more, I believe.
Yeah, right.
And while it's racing, still showing his support for the American sailors, Schlegg and NF Sailor. They still need it. Schlegg is 11th, so one position behind being in the top 10 to race in the medal race at the end. And Dinozor33, great competitive racing. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for them, actually, not for me. It is, yeah.
Yeah, I think I raced against him in Virtual Regatta Offshore Dinosaur. You can remind us where you're from. I remember Switzerland. But let us know. I remember seeing you in the game. And thanks for the comment. So let's see. Jose is in the first place. Wow, it was important, critical for Lorenzo, and he's second place, battling it out with Jose Coty.
Lorenzo performing very well in this race. Managed to stick to Jose Coty.
Yeah.
Jose Coty currently 5th overall with 44 points, while Lorenzo is 1st with 37 points. If Lorenzo keeps it, even arriving 2nd over here, that puts him at 39 points, and he's still in front of Jose Coty in the overall ranking. Split over here, Jose Coty decided to go on the top of the screen over here, and then tack, while Lorenzo, well, they're going to cross again over here. Bart is in the mix. I don't know where he came from.
Yeah, with 49er, that's always the case. Everything happens too fast. You cannot follow the fleet strategies. It just happens. So
it looks like Bart is in the mix now as well. So he's going completely on the right-hand side of the course, trying to get that wind pressure. The Nacra does like its wind. So if he can get it to foil, he's going to go faster and probably gain some meters on the other two. As the pressure is coming in from the right over here, where Bart is, although there is going to be a shift afterwards.
Not gonna jinx anyone, but yeah, Jose's got in a good place right now because it's not easy to catch up during the downwind, as they sail downwind quite vertical, and also with less wind shadows, it's not always easy to catch up.
Yep. So let's just remind that at the end of this race, only the top 10 in the overall ranking for this final are going to go to the medal race. And the first one is the only one who's going to receive the prize at the end. And speaking of prizes as well, we're still going to have the giveaway at some point at the end of the stream to those who are active in the chat. So just write any message regularly in the chat, and you will be
and let's remind also the newcomers what they can do with these tokens they will gain from this giveaway.
Jose Coty first, Lorenzo second, and Bart is going to be third. Well done, Lorenzo from Gansuluk. Sorry, Omer, you can.
Yes.
Continue.
I was just gonna say, while these eSailors are racing here, they need some of the race helpers, which are ley lines. The minimap you see above the wind sockets to be able to read the wind. The best VMG option, where you can just lock your boat and sail with the best VMG, which is quite useful in the upwind and downwind when you're sailing, and you don't have to always adjust the heading of your boat and your distance in time to the start. Also to organize your start in the most perfect way and the closest way you can. Do I miss anything here? I think this should be all. So the giveaway, you'll get tokens from this giveaway, and you'll be able to use them in these race and with these race helpers. You can race without, but with these race helpers, you'll sail much comfortably and you'll have the time to focus on the strategy and the general overview of the race course instead of just adjusting all the time the heading of your boat and try to stay in the shift. And while waiting Carlos to join, again, let's remind that we'll have a giveaway after this medal race. 50 tokens for one of the active viewers who will comment during the stream. So Morris wrote, "I need all the help." Token in parentheses. I can get to be competitive. Maradoni, hello. And we got Jinsu as well in the chat. Stefan Bonatti, hello, Stefano.
So yeah, just looking at the chat then, Stefano Bonazzi, Grande Lore. Yeah, indeed, I think you already answered that. Lorenzo currently first. Medal race is counting double, so he will need to cling onto his position. Moritz, I need all the help. Yeah, you already answered to this one. And Maradoni. Can only the top 5 win? Let's check. Well, let's assume Lorenzo is the last one. That means that he would get 22 points. Because there are actually 11 players, since at the break point, if there's a tie, the player can join. So Moro Di Napoli could actually join as well, since he also has 72 points. So that would put Lorenzo at 5961 points. Meaning that up to 7th, they could win.
Yeah.
So Bart still has a chance, and 49er is his preferred class.
Yes. Both in real and I think in virtual as well.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying it's his favorite class virtually, because in real life it is his favorite class. So I'm expecting some great sailing from him. Obviously, not to jinx him, but a great performance from him in this medal race. And I'm looking forward for this one. Good luck all to from RG Tyler. Yeah, good luck to all these 11 sailors fighting to get the first place and win the prize. Race starts in 1 minute at 43.
So of course, as we have a smaller fleet, we have a smaller start line. So it's gonna be a tight start. As the level are like getting up here, you wouldn't want to make any mistakes. You just want to have a clean start and then do the best you can, follow the shifts, stay clean, and then I think it will be enough to stay in the top 5.
There we go. It is 43. All sailors are in. We'll let the race begin.
Let's go. Medal race, double points.
Right. Reminder, we will be doing a giveaway at the end of the stream. So anyone who's been active in the last 15 minutes at the time where we do the giveaway has a chance to earn 50 tokens. So if you want to get a chance to earn the 50 tokens, why don't you put the top 3 that you think will win at the end of this medal race. And also at the end of the stream, it'll be a good time for us to go check the vote.
Yes.
To see which boat the community has voted for the next 40-player regatta, which is happening tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. UTC, from 9 a.m. UTC to 11 p.m. UTC, I think. I forgot.
Yes, I think it's correct. So 9 seconds to start.
And there we go. This is a start, a penalty on FC Rich. Didn't see if that was no, that wasn't a false start. That was a...
That's gonna hurt.
Boat touching another boat. 49er, we didn't really talk about this class, so an Olympic class. Very fast boat as well. Usually
it's a very
most
light
of the...
boat.
Yeah.
You have to be quite sensitive on it. You have a crew of 2 sailors, 1 helm, 1 crew, and I believe Bart is helm while they're racing, and his crew is mostly doing the spinnaker, launching the spinnaker, hiking, and doing the other adjustments while he's keeping the boat. I never had the chance to sail on these boats, but as one of the commentators, I have a lot of friends in sailing, and I saw them sailing with this boat. It seems quite fun, quite fast. You're just hiking and racing over the border.
Yep, and usually most of the strategy actually with this boat happens on the upwind.
Yeah, and it's quite wet also. As you're hiking, you always face the waves and you get splash on your face.
So, Moritz is saying that Bart, FC Rich, and Carlos are going to be the ones. So maybe for this race they could, unfortunately between the 3 that you mentioned, I don't think Carlos can win.
Penalty for Kazuki and Lorenzo, 42.
And RG Tyler says it's going to be Kazuki, 42, and Ame. Which is very likely. And while it's racing Pablo, Ame, FC Rich. Same. Pablo might win in this race, but I don't think he cannot actually win the whole of the final. Ame can, and FC Rich as well can as well.
Well, I think we got our first spot. So.
Well, we have our first part with Bart Lambrex. Is it surprising?
So
I don't think so.
How many points do Bart need to put in between him and Lorenzo?
Well, there's 20 points separating Lorenzo from Bart.
Okay. Yeah, correct.
So if Bart wants to win, Lorenzo has to finish last. Or before last.
Okay. And Lorenzo is in 4th place.
And Lorenzo is in 4th place.
Yeah, it's not quite likely at the moment.
An unlucky pen for Lorenzo looked like he avoided. Yep, Lorenzo is in a good spot so far. As long as he stays in front of Kazuki, Jose Guti, FC Rich.
I think we can say he's in the leading group with the top 4. They don't have much gap, but I think we can separate them.
Yeah, and he took a different strategy from Bart that we see over there. So Bart decided to go on the far left of the course, as you can see on your screen, at the top over there. And Lorenzo decided to go on the right.
I think we're gonna have a right shift coming in, Oscar, and that's not the best news for Bart, but we'll see. Yeah, it's definitive now that we're gonna have a big right shift coming in. So Lorenzo will also fly more in this upwind before heading over to finish.
Now I'm looking at the chat of the grand finalists, and Lorenzo is saying, now I disconnect. Lorenzo, I would not joke too much about this because it can happen. It did happen to Scheidlo. No, it wasn't Scheidlo, it was Stipe Coach on the third final.
So
would have won the final if not for a disconnection. So
with the advantage of the big right hand shift he profited, like he's quite close to Bart now, Lorenzo.
Yep. Is that going to be enough?
I think it's going to be enough.
But some very strong sailing from Lorenzo over here. Very consistent as well. We can actually go over the scores he did in the final. So in all, he arrived 10th, 1st, 9th, 4th, 10th, 3rd, 2nd. And if we are taking the ranking as it is over here, he's going to arrive 2nd again in the middle race.
So he was always in the top 10.
So he was always in the top 10, yep. He is actually the only medal racer who has always finished in the top 10.
That's some good consistent racing, Oscar.
Yep.
Is it too early to congratulate Lorenzo? What do you think?
I think it's too early. Commentator curse, jinxing and all of that. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, let's wait a bit more.
So until the line is crossed, we don't know. Though you can see the overall scoreboard on the right of your screen right over here. If you want to do the maths, maths are easy. You just multiply their position by 2. That's going to be the points they get for this race, and you add these points to the overall points to get their end score. And when the race finishes, well, we'll congratulate the winner. We'll do the giveaway, so make sure that you have sent a message in the last 15 minutes. And we'll also check which boat has been voted for the Vote the Boat 40 player regatta tomorrow. So Bart 1st, Lorenzo 2nd, FC Rich 3rd, Ame 4th, Jose Gotti 5th, Kazuki 6th, Pablo 7th. And there we have it.
Well,
so let's see how the scoreboard updates. Congratulations to all the sailors first. I'll mute myself, leave you with Omar, and I'll come back when the ranking is updated. So I'm back. Here we have the ranking after the medal race. So we expected it. Lorenzo first overall with 43 points. A 12-point lead on the second of Jose Gotti, the Brazilian player. Followed by Kazuki and FC Rich on 3rd and 4th. 57, 58 points. Bart Lambrietz jumped up to 5th with the win in this race, 61 points. Ame 6th, 62 points. Harder 74 points in 7th. Pablo Baez, Carlos Barrejo 8th and 9th with 84 and 89 respectively. 90 points for Scheidlo and 94 for Mauro Di Napoli. Well done to these players. Well done to Lorenzo. He's the one who's going to receive the prize from One Provence. We'll get in touch with him and we will reveal the prize to him. We'll shortly enter the giveaway for the 50 tokens, so make sure you congratulate Lorenzo in the chat. Very consistent sailor, very strong performance in this final, so totally deserved for this player. And Moritz, thank you so much for this comment.